Welcome back, Minions. Dungeon Master here with another video. Continuing last week's project, we're gonna get right into it. Finishing up with painting and basing this beast and showing you how it all came out. So stick around, we'll get to the table and get cracking. Getting right back into it. Starting off by painting the entryway to the mound using my favorite and yours, Apple Barrel Pewter Gray straight from the pot. Anywhere you mess up and go out of bounds is perfectly fine. Just go back over it later with the original color. That's the beauty of these paints. You can just keep going over it until you get it right, especially if the paint is watered down. Next, I start using the same gray to base coat the rock formations. Presumably, whoever built this mound used the same stones they dug out of the hill to make the entryway and then piled the other rocks along the outside of the mound. Now dry brushing using Apple Barrel Granite Gray. I wipe as much of the paint off the brush as I can and then lightly brush the high spots to bring out contrast between the raised areas and the recesses. And the same for the entryway and rock formations. I dry brush the ground with a khaki color. The ground will be covered with flock later, hiding the majority of this detail. So you may be asking, Why the hell would you cover all that detail? Simple, if the flock rubs off, I don't want a pink foam or plywood showing through. Do the same to the trees, making sure I get it from every single angle. The sawdust I applied in part 1 really helps the dry brushing here. Then I used my homemade black wash on the rock formations. You'll see how the wash seeps slightly into the brown portion of the ground. Really liked this effect and decided to use an excessive amount of wash to exaggerate it. I chose to paint the bottom of the pond before pouring resin into it. I was still going to color the resin, but I didn't want there to be any hint of brown on the bottom. Plus, it was a good opportunity for me to try my hand at wet blending and still be able to hide it if it came out messed up. I used 2 shades of green for the bottom. Looking back on it now, I should have left the resin clear so as not to hide this feature. Now I'm going to place the doors and other accessories using some PVA glue. PVA glue is cleaner for this purpose than hot glue, but if you think you can get away using the hot glue without it being obvious, knock yourself out. person I was building this for specified that she wanted ruins laying around the mound, presumably from the destruction of a pearlescent tower that once stood on the site. I started by using Dollar Tree foam core, measuring half rounds with a roll of painter's tape. To cut out the rounds, I used a straight edge and made many straight line cuts on the edge of the lines. You end up with an edge you can follow with sandpaper or a nail file to round off the edge. I then beveled the edges, hopefully learning from previous mistakes, forgetting to texture stone before gluing it, or beveling bases after putting the vertical pieces down. I just tried to make them look as jagged as I could to emphasize that these are ruins. I then peeled off the paper and drew a brick pattern on the foam with a pencil. I'll often use one tool when a different tool would suit the situation better. A ballpoint pen or a dull pencil would work here, as well as a barbecue skewer or a toothpick. Just use whatever you have. Here I'm taking a 2-inch strip of foam board and after peeling off the paper, drawing a brick pattern on both sides of this, as seen in my well video. When you put lines on both sides of the foam, be careful handling it because it makes it more fragile. I made sure to carry the brick pattern around the edges for continuity and to help measure the other side. Then I glued the walls to the floor pieces using some tacky glue. I use push pins to tack the walls until the glue sets up. You can see here a split starting to form where I scored the lines in the wall, and ended up using this to my advantage to give me a place to cut it off so it looked natural. I then took the chunk of wall I cut/broke off of the other piece to make the wall on the second piece. I ended up needing to reinforce the walls in some spots using toothpicks because they were slightly weaker due to the scoring. I just glued these into place using tacky glue. I further distressed the edges using emery boards. I decided one of the pieces was too big for where I wanted to put it, so I just tore it in half. I glued these pieces down with hot glue. Coat of black Mod Podge to seal the ruins. Show the pieces having sunk into the earth, so I came back in with my texture paste to kind of smooth the transitions between the pieces and the ground. Notice I stippled the texture paste after letting it dry slightly. Otherwise it has a tendency to settle. It still looks okay, but I like the exaggerated texture the stippling gives. here I went back to the doors and smoothed those transitions as well. I tried to make my own pearlized paint using vanilla white and a dab of silver, but it was a dismal failure, as you can see here. I laid some white garden rocks around the board randomly to add to the scattered ruins. These were reused from a previous attempt on the board, hence their brownish tint. I ended up painting these with a pearlescent white as well. Time has come to mix the epoxy for the water effects. This video was filmed long before my video review of the Mod Podge Dimensional Magic. If I had known about that product here, I may have still used the epoxy because of its durability, but on second thought, I probably would have used the Dimensional Magic. I mixed in a combination of blue and ivy green for a murky lake color, but as mentioned earlier, it was unnecessary and only covered up my paint job under the surface. I'm using a technique I saw in another video. The bubbles left behind in the epoxy can be largely removed by introducing heat to the surface. In this case, I used a candle lighter. This needs to be done before the epoxy sets to achieve maximum effect. And no, it wasn't flammable. We're approaching the end here, and I painted on a watered down PVA glue for my ground turf to stick to. This mixture is approximately 50% water, 50% Elmer's glue, and 2 to 3 drops of Flow-Aid. Or you could use dish soap. I put it on nice and wet so the ground cover absorbs it. I'm going for durability here and really want this piece to survive being moved around and examined. Plus the ground cover I use is from Michaels, and I believe it's a cheaper version of the Woodland Scenics ground cover. Don't quote me, but I believe it's made from foam, so it absorbs the glue really well. I left a pathway into the entrance because it seemed natural to me. I made the attempt to glue some clump foliage to the tree branches, and I ran out midway through, which is why the trees look so sparse. In the future, I plan to make sure I have more on hand so the trees look right. The last step is to seal the whole piece with watered down PVA. After the original layer dried, I poured some of my mixture into a small spray bottle, blasted the whole thing into soaking. The result is a durable ground cover. I made sure to wipe off any glue that I got on the surface of my tiny pond. Thank you everybody for sticking around to the end of this project. I know it took us a little bit of a while to get to it, but it was well worth it in the end, as you can see. Even as a display piece, it came out nice, but especially around the table, if you were going to put some miniatures with it, it would be an outstanding center piece to any kind of encounter or small adventure. You can insert puzzles, traps, anything you wanted into this and have it come out awesome on the table. That said, if you like what I'm doing here and you want to see this channel grow, continue, consider becoming a supporter on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You get access to everything that I offer. I don't have multiple tiers. I only have the one tier. I think that if you want to pay something into it, you'll get, you're going to pay whatever you want. And I think maybe I won't even add other tiers. Brain fart. The other thing that I want to mention is I have I opened up an Amazon merch store. I have a link below in the description. As an alternative to Teespring, if you don't feel comfortable shopping through Teespring, if you don't like their quality, you don't like their politics, whatever, head over to Amazon merch. It's a little bit more money, and I get a little bit less money from the sale, but it's an alternative, another way for you to support the channel. If you want to use the affiliate links while you're there too, be my guest. It's a risk-free way for you to support the channel and help me out. Also, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get updates every time I post a new video. I post a new video every Sunday without fail. I'll try to get that, keep that rolling out through the rest of this year. That being said, I just got a new job, so I apologize if in the couple, upcoming months, weeks, whatever, the quality of my videos drops slightly. I'm hoping that won't be the case. I want to provide you guys the exact same content that I've been providing you all along, make you, get your viewers, your viewing worth whenever you tune into my channel and see what I'm doing. I want you guys to be excited every week. I don't want you to say, oh, here's another video by the Dungeon Master and it's a piece of crap. Thank you guys for those of you who've stuck around, stuck with me since the beginning for this long. Really appreciate you guys. Thanks to my patrons. Thanks to all my followers on Instagram. Everybody, coming up on 100 subscribers on YouTube. Never thought I'd even get this far. It's modest, but it's, I'm more than happy with that amount. So in that vein, we'll thank this month's patrons in the credits. Stay tuned next time. You guys have built something really huge. I want to hear about it. I want to hear about your struggles with it. I want to hear about, the pains that you went through to bring something awesome to the table for your players. See you guys next time.